Last year, I started 2025 off by making a video where I forced myself to cook every recipe that came up on one of my social media feeds. And I guess it went pretty well because I had multiple people tell me that I was on their YouTube Wrapped as a cooking channel. All it takes is one video and your entire career path changes. I'm a chef now, and there's nothing you or I can do about it. I decided to make that video again for the same reasons I did last time, which is that turning self-improvement activities into content is unfortunately the only way to get myself to actually do them. My goal last time was to expand my repertoire of healthy meals. And then I kind of just made 6 different versions of meat bread. I'm gonna try to focus a little bit more on variety this time. At least as much as I can. My algorithm still hasn't recovered from my protein video.
To make my meals even more convenient, I store them in easy to access areas.
I guess it knows I'm a pretty healthy guy. That's why I've spent the past 4 years gaining and losing the same 7 pounds over and over again. This year though, this year's gonna be different. Yeah, this time will be different. 2026 is nothing like 2025, even though I'm the same person with the same brain.
I've seen so many variations of this. High protein pizza because instead of using dough, you use chicken. And then there's protein from the chicken, and there's protein from the cheese, and there's protein from the pepperoni. In fact, in this entire pizza, if I were to eat it all in one sitting, it would be 179 grams of protein. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm gonna start, as I do with all foods, with one bite and work my way up from there. Touch raw chicken, gotta wash my hands. Touch raw eggs, gotta wash my hands. Don't mind me, I'm just grating cheese. I'm following the instructions perfectly. If it looks like there's a little bit of a different kind of cheese in there, it's not because I accidentally put in the mozzarella when I was supposed to do Parmesan. It wouldn't be that because I know how to read. I wouldn't make a mistake that simple. Oh yeah, that's looking real nice. God, why must you give your hardest battles to your weakest soldiers? I wanna lick that bowl clean so bad. I can hear Bim Bim running around like crazy. She loves pizza. She's never had it before, but she fucking loves it. Ooh, that's what I like to see. I'm not dying tonight. This is the first time it started to smell like pizza. And what do I do first, the pepperoni or the cheese? I didn't work at Papa John's like my friend did. I worked at a snow cone restaurant. And none of the skills I learned there have translated to real life. You know, if you look a little too closely at the edges, it is slightly abhorrent. But if you ignore that, it kind of looks like pizza. Every step of the process, it's gotten a little bit closer to looking like pizza. And this is as close as it's gonna get. Okay, gotta say, so far, pretty heavy on the ratio of ground chicken to everything else. It mostly just tastes like a giant chicken nugget, but just like slimier. Hey, do you want a slice? No interest at all. That's not a good sign. I honestly love all of the parts of it that aren't the ground chicken crust. Probably because everything else is just regular pizza ingredients. So that's the part that tastes like pizza. I love how all of the top comments on this video were like, that's way too much to eat all in one sitting. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, I'm struggling to finish half. I don't think I'd eat the whole thing with a gun to my head. It was a pound of chicken, 2 eggs, a whole bunch of cheese, pepperoni. I think that's all of the ingredients. Most things with this much protein don't taste this good. I would give that like a high B to a low A. Oh God. That was a lot. All right, pulling double duty today. I got some chicken mozzarella sticks that this guy's just like pointing at. And on the side, this. Honestly, looks good. Might be the only ethical use of cottage cheese I've seen in an Instagram video. I do love how many of these videos start off with, did you know, before saying like the weirdest bullshit you've ever heard. No, actually, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could bake cottage cheese into chips. Where the hell would I even get that information? Really running out of space already. I think I'm only gonna be able to fit 6 on here. If I'm going to all the trouble to do this, I'm not gonna only make 6. All the trouble to do this, and I'm just putting cottage cheese on a, on a baking sheet. My standard for what counts as cooking is so low. I have a bigger baking sheet. I'm gonna use a different one instead. I'm just doing 6. I'm just gonna do 6. I don't even know if I like them yet. I'm like, I gotta make 100. Okay, and now we wait 35 to 45 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm gonna air fry these things.
I'm just now finding out that if you take 6 cheese sticks and a pound of ground chicken and wrap the cheese sticks in the chicken, you get stuffed chicken fries that are low-cal, high-protein, and taste absolutely phenomenal.
What do you mean, why are you just finding this out?
Why am I just finding out?
You clearly watched someone else's video, and instead of sharing it or stitching it even and giving them credit, you just took a bunch of screenshots that you can point at and be like, oh, did you know about this? What the heck?
Am I the only one that finds it insane?
This video is peak short form content. This is a guy who understands that nobody is ever making any of these recipes. They just want to look at them. They just want to be impressed by new information.
Wait guys, exciting news.
Hulu just updated their terms and conditions. Sorry, this is the only way I could think to do this.
The important thing is, it's gonna be fresh.
And they say being a YouTuber isn't hard work. Bimma wants me to feed her. I've always done this thing where when daylight savings time comes, I normally feed her at 5 o'clock, but then daylight savings comes and 5 o'clock becomes 6 o'clock. And now she doesn't know that. She doesn't know the difference because she doesn't have clocks. She doesn't use clocks. She doesn't have a cell phone that tells her the time is different. The time is the same to her every day. So when daylight savings time comes, I feed her at 6 o'clock instead, right? That used to work, but recently, with this last time change, she begs me right at 5 o'clock that she wants food. And so then I'm like, who gave you a clock? Cats don't know how to tell time. How does she know that 5 o'clock is now 6 o'clock? And so 5 o'clock, which is what used to be 4 o'clock, is when I should feed her. Because if I start feeding her at 5, then when the time changes back, I'm gonna have to feed her at 4. And then the following year, I'm gonna have to feed her at 3. And then before you know it, I'm waking up at this fucking sunrise to feed my cat. Everyone in the world has the same air fryer. When you see a video and they talk about air frying, it's the one with like the handle that you pull out and the parchment paper. I don't have that. I have a toaster oven / air fryer. I'm just gonna use it anyway. Okay, wasn't so bad, huh? The more turd-shaped, the better. I think those look pretty good.
Seems to be delicious.
Yeah, maybe I didn't do a great job mincing the garlic. Maybe I got a little lazy about it. These are gonna be interesting.
It looks crispy on the outside, but there's no way it's cooked through on the inside.
Isn't it cool that instead of showing you what I can see, I'm just describing it to you verbally? Exactly what the visual medium of YouTube is all about. I'm curious if they're totally stuck to the bottom. I don't see why they wouldn't be. I made no attempt to make it not stick. What did I expect? What did I expect would happen? This is so bad. Where did I go wrong with such a perfect recipe? How could this have happened? In the meantime,
We have one in the back that is burnt to a crisp. The other ones don't look cooked at all.
and that I probably burnt the shit out of. I couldn't have timed this any worse. I'm gonna put it in a bowl because all my plates are in the dishwasher right now. Holy fucking shit. Oh. Yikes. This is not a chip at all. This is just hot cottage cheese. You know, this one's kind of done. There's one thing I know about cottage cheese pancakes. It's that you don't want to overdo it. Got these. I didn't have to make this video. The range of colors on here is so small, from light gray to like a slight brownish gray. I'm probably not gonna make these again. You know what? These are actually pretty good. And it's not just because I'm so disgusted by these that anything would have been better in comparison. I think I made something tasty. I guess it's because at the end of the day, no matter how bad of a job I do, it's still garlic and cheese. It's kind of hard to make those taste bad. I don't know if I would make it again because I didn't really enjoy the process of making it, but now that I have it made in front of me, I'm definitely gonna eat them. I'm never doing this shit again in my life. Each bite is like a slot machine of, is it gonna be too mushy or too hard? Probably gonna give that one like a D+. The chicken mozzarella stick thing, that's an A-. It tastes really good. I just didn't like making it.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot.
I put today's sponsor SoFi in the oven. One of the simplest ways to build wealth is to actually earn interest on the money you make, but most banks give you next to nothing, a fraction of a percent. With today's sponsor SoFi, you can change that. When you open a SoFi checking and savings account and set up eligible direct deposit, you earn a competitive APY, and there's no account fees. That means your money isn't just sitting there, it's working. Every dollar you earn in interest can earn more interest, and in time, that growth really adds up. And right now, when you open a new high-yield savings account, you can get either a $50 or $400 cash bonus with eligible direct deposit of at least $1,000. You'll even get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. So start putting your money to work. Head to SoFi.com/Drew, click the link down below, or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more.
Thank you to SoFi for sponsoring today's video.
All right, now it's time for dessert. Very exciting day today, or actually tomorrow will be the exciting day. This is like a 2-day process and I'm starting it today, but eventually it will be exciting. I was getting so many Instagram reels from this guy who makes these creamies, I guess they're called. I hate that word. I hate using that word, but I'm gonna have to say it so many times during this section. But yeah, this guy's made like 1,000 creams before, and he's like a cream expert, and he wants everybody to taste the cream that he makes. I got this machine, and I paid for his recipe book because I'm all about supporting independent creators. And also it was the only way to get the recipes. I also had to buy a bunch of random crap for this. Monk fruit sweetener, cake batter extract, vanilla bean paste, an entire 12-pack of Prime Bites protein brownies, so I could use half of one of them, cocoa powder, and also black cocoa powder. He specifically specified to use both of them. I don't know what the difference is. I guess they listen to different kinds of music. And of course, none of this would be possible without xanthan gum. And nothing else. Wow, I haven't done an unboxing in so many years. I hope I remember how. We're gonna start with brownie batter blizzard. Now comes the scary part, the part that uses a motorized blade. Pint number 1, complete. Okay, maybe it looks a little bit less like ice cream and more like a tall poop donut, but I don't hate it. And now for the best part, the half of a brownie. Okay, well that didn't go so well. Oh yeah. I don't even want to eat it. I kind of just want to look at it. I need to enjoy this moment for as long as possible. The moment where I think it's going to taste really good. Because I know as soon as I take a bite, I'm going to be disappointed. But in the meantime, I'm just excited that I did something correctly. You know what? I might just be saying this because this took literally 24 hours to make and I would be so disappointed if it sucked, but it doesn't suck. And to think just one day ago, this was a regular protein shake and also 12 other ingredients.
It's just really cold on my teeth is all. I know it looks like I'm suffering. It has nothing to do with the flavor. It's merely the temperature.
One of the best cups of shit I've ever had.
Now, to be clear, it very much does taste like if you turned a protein bar into ice cream, which is to say, it's kind of good, but not as good as the thing it's pretending to be. I'm just excited about all the doors I've opened up with this machine, all the different variations of cream that I can make, and you better believe I'm gonna make them all. Raspberry cheesecake.
Well, I just made a horrifying discovery while editing this video. I made 3 of these creamies a few days ago, and I've slowly been eating them one by one. But this raspberry cheesecake one just did not turn out right. I thought it looked pretty good, but it was so thick and had literally no flavor. It had the consistency of cream cheese, but tasted like the container that cream cheese is sold in. And my dumbass was like, stupid recipe. Must have been the cream master's fault. Surely it wasn't anything I did wrong. Now, here's what happened. I was supposed to put in 1 gram of xanthan gum and 40 grams of artificial sweetener. And instead, I put in 1 gram of xanthan gum and then another 40 grams of xanthan gum.
That was only 17?
Now, if you don't know what that is, because I didn't until about 10 days ago, it's basically like a binding agent. You mix them into foods like this to make them thicker, so when you pull it out of the freezer, it actually has the texture of ice cream rather than just being liquid but colder. And clearly, a little bit goes a long way if you only need to use 1 gram. I used 40 times as much as I was supposed to, and also didn't put any monk fruit powder in. The whole time I'm eating it, I'm like, man, this shit is thick as fuck and isn't sweet at all. Yeah, I think I figured it out. I think I cracked the case. It is so embarrassing for me to watch back this footage and see how confidently wrong I am throughout the entire process. How at first I was like, oh yeah, now this looks like ice cream.
Okay. That is definitely a different texture than it was a second ago. Cool.
I think this works.
It's not supposed to look like that yet, you moron. Also, how optimistic I, for some reason, was even after tasting it and being disgusted.
I guess I did too much milk. Nope.
How confused I was when it took forever to clean afterwards.
Spent like 5 minutes scrubbing this. Maybe it's just the cream cheese.
Nope. This texture looks way better. I'm using an entire monk fruit for this.
You know how when you leave ice cream out for a little bit, it melts? I left this sitting on the counter for 6 hours, and when I came back, it looked exactly the same. Whatever this is, it is not ice cream. I think I accidentally created a substance never before seen by humans. This feels like the beginning of a sci-fi horror movie. Like if I don't dispose of this properly, it's going to come to life and kill me in my sleep.
I know I'm like 2 years late to this trend, but I knew I had to hop on the cucumber bandwagon. You've probably seen this guy at some point.
Sometimes you need to eat an entire cucumber.
Who is almost surely an industry plant on behalf of Big Cucumber. I took on one of his recipes and also another one I found, which essentially has just turned into a bowl of beef. These always look so good. I totally understand the appeal of these. Cucumber is such a blank slate of a food that you can apply any flavor profile to it whatsoever. And that's what these each are. This one's more like a pickled onion beef thing. I make my own pickled onions because I like putting them on sandwiches and in tacos and stuff. And so I just kind of threw those in here. As you could see by this B-roll footage, deceptively hard to shake these things up. I spent a couple minutes trying to shake these things, and even still, all of the cucumbers were on the bottom. That's why I had to take this out of the container and put it in a bowl. And then this one, I don't know what I was expecting, putting a glob of thick ass cream cheese in here, that it would just like break apart and evenly disperse throughout the container. No, it's all in one glob still. Huh. There sure are a lot of cucumbers in here. I saw a comment on this video that was like, it's pretty good, but if you don't rock with cucumbers, it's probably not for you. And someone was just like, why the fuck would you make this recipe if you don't like cucumbers? And now in hindsight, I am kind of like the first commenter. For something that required no cooking, and it's just throwing a few things in a cup and shaking it up for a couple minutes, it's not that bad. And now for this one, you know what this tastes like? It tastes like if you filled a bowl with beef and cucumbers. These are both fine. It's a salad adjacent meal, so your expectations have to be a little tempered. But I have to say, I think I disagree with this guy's catchphrase.
Sometimes you need to eat 2 entire cucumbers.
I don't know if that's true. The cucumber is my least favorite part. I should have just made a bowl of beef. Whatever, just proves what I've always believed, which is that you should never trust a man who bleaches his hair.
Did you know if you have blueberries,
a tub of vanilla Greek yogurt,
chia seeds,
mix in banana pudding mix,
maple syrup or honey,
and stick in a bunch of Nilla wafers,
your favorite type of milk,
before fridging overnight,
you get this high fiber,
delicious
chia seed pudding.
Banana pudding.
Honestly, I think this is too sweet. I think it just didn't need the honey. It's already pretty sweet from the yogurt and the blueberries. Man, if I think that's too sweet, I wonder how I feel about this. I don't think I needed to use as much banana pudding mix as I did. The one in the video was like a slightly off-white. This is extremely yellow. Almost looks like scrambled eggs. That's pretty good though. I love banana pudding. Honestly, the best banana pudding I've ever had in my life, Buc-ee's. I don't know what they put in there, but that shit was good. I do think it's funny to act like 88 grams of protein is like a lot for this when they're talking about the entire tub. Depending on how many vanilla wafers you put in here, it could be like 1,500 calories. And it's unfortunate that the only way to get that number lower would be to put less vanilla wafers in here when that's by far the best part. Otherwise, you're kind of just eating goop. I just woke up about 20 minutes ago, and I think it's a little too early in the day to stomach this much cold mush. This is one of those that looks really good on camera, right? Because the texture changes and you can run the spoon through it and it looks so fluffy. And it is pretty fluffy, but then you eat it and it's just mushy. B for this, C+ for this. Time to start my day. What the hell? I just want to eat something normal. I'm just kidding, man. This is my favorite one so far.
The theme of today's recipes? I'm so glad you asked. Balls. And I'm not talking penis. First up, a 2-ingredient air-fried cheese ball, which is what my friends call me behind my back. And then this chickpea onion thing. Just by looking at this, I already know that that red onion taste is gonna be lingering in my mouth for 3 hours after I eat it, but how can you not love this guy's voice?
Along with a teaspoon of paprika powder.
I wish my voice sounded like that. Then maybe my friends would stop calling me a cheese ball. Hell yeah. I love that. I love when things do that. Yep, I'll definitely be using the rest of this for something. I could have used a bigger bowl. Smells good, looks good, but does it taste good? I don't know, I haven't eaten it yet.
Into the oven.
Now you would think with a 2-ingredient recipe, I couldn't possibly mess it up, right? How far could I stray from something so simple? Well, one, I was not about to spend 45 minutes grating an entire block of Parmesan, so I bought a prepackaged kind. And also, it's not even just Parmesan, it includes 2 other cheeses. So if it turns out bad, we know who to blame. Joe Biden, actually. Yet again, time for my favorite part of these videos, where I just stick my hand inside something. You know, between me and Stranger Things, there's never been a more lucrative time for Foley artists who specialize in squelching noises. My hands are going to smell like cheese for weeks. If I went for a walk right now, I would attract woodland creatures from near and far. It's not really sticking very well. If I had to guess, it could have something to do with the fact that I didn't grate this cheese myself. Delicious. Freeze for 2 hours. They don't look quite as crispy as him. It might be because I didn't dry them out enough. You're supposed to drain and rinse them, but if you don't dry them enough, then they're gonna like retain moisture and then they're not gonna be as crispy, and maybe that's what I did wrong.
They taste great. I feel like chickpeas are so underrated.
Man.
Yeah, these are delicious. Every type of meat right now is 3 times as much as it was a few years ago. But a can of chickpeas, which has a decent amount of protein and in the right context can act as a protein in a meal, like $1. If you put this in a bowl, some kind of fancy grain, some tzatziki, some sweet potatoes maybe.
I just don't have any other slop to put in it.
Cheese ball. This might be the worst lighting I've ever achieved in a video. It tastes exactly the way you'd expect it to. I should have just grated Parmesan. It's too sharp. I don't know if I can eat any more of these. I mean, obviously they look awesome, but when would I eat this? Just gonna make cheese balls for dinner? Yeah, I gotta go eat a vegetable. Hey, let's make some more ice cream. I have to say I'm a little concerned so far. As much as I genuinely loved that first Creami, the second one was more of a failed science experiment, and the third one, I like mint chocolate chip ice cream. That was always one of my favorites growing up, but with peppermint extract, there is such a fine line where once you cross that line, it no longer tastes like a delicious sweet treat, and it kind of just tastes like you're eating toothpaste. Unfortunately, that's where my Minter Wonderland ended up, and it was a bit of a chore to finish. Since I've already messed this up a couple of times, I'm gonna go with a recipe that seems absolutely foolproof. Oreo McFlurry. It's just milk and sweetener and Oreo thins. How could I possibly mess that up?
Did you hear what I said about not messing this up? Just want to make sure you heard that.
Milk time! This is the amount that I was supposed to put in last time.
Jesus Christ.
And not that this had as big of an effect on the final outcome, but I also forgot to put a pinch of salt in the last time. Crisis averted.
You know what else I like about his recipes?
He says to use Oreo thins with the cream removed because it's fewer calories.
I love that the calories of the cream doesn't count because I'm not putting it into the ice cream. It's so much healthier this way.
I think I've created the appropriate texture this time. It doesn't already look like ice cream, it's just a little bit foamy.
Shit's good as hell.
Ooh. That's a relief, future me. Or if it's bad, I'll be like, shit. Now this next one, I'm a little concerned about. It's a Dr. Pepper float. Now that sounds delicious to me. That's not the part I'm scared about. I'm worried because I don't think he wrote this in the way that he meant to. Because typically with a float, you would take the ice cream and then you kind of just pour the soda on top of it. He's saying to put the Dr. Pepper in and then blend it. I just cannot imagine a world where a freshly carbonated beverage inside this blender machine could end in anything other than disaster. And that's exactly why I need to do this on camera. If his typo causes me to explode, well, at least I filmed it. Getting a little high there. Honestly, that's kind of already good as is.
All right, well, here goes nothing.
12 seconds later.
Who could have seen that coming? Kind of the worst possible outcome, because on one hand, it's annoying that I'm gonna have to now clean this up. And on the other hand, it wasn't even that interesting to look at. I kind of just made a mess for no reason. Yeah, the bad news is I have to waste a bunch of paper towels, but the good news is I discovered something delicious. I'm gonna drink these every day forever. Kind of an annoying chore I just chose to give myself, but maybe it'll be worth it. That's up to you, future Drew. What do you say?
It's fine.
All right, thanks, buddy. Well, I think we've had a lot of fun here today. Whether we've been making shit or even crap, I've learned a lot. I spent a lot of time scrolling through my bookmarks to find the perfect recipe to end this video on. And I realized that the best recipe is the one that feels authentic to me. And then I found this. Not only do I have an entire website devoted to hot dogs, but I think I've made it pretty clear that the only thing I feel comfortable cooking is meat bread. This is perfect. Is this meal healthy? No. Will it help me reach my fitness goals? No. But does it look like something I'll accidentally eat all of in one sitting just to spend the next 2 hours complaining about my tummy ache? Yeah, it does. And of course, just like every recipe I've made so far, I'm swapping out one of the ingredients for a different one. I went to 2 different stores looking for this prepackaged French bread, and I was not about to go to a third. The only problem with using these crescent rolls instead is that they come pre-perforated, but I feel like as long as I don't rip it, it'll still all be one sheet. I don't know, man, I'm making hot dog bread. It doesn't have to be perfect.
I just forget how to open these.
Oh, that's right. That's how you do it. This looks French enough to me. I don't see any reason why this can't work just as well as the other bread, except for all of the lines and holes in it. Don't make fun of me, okay? You know you'd be just as scared. Okay. Maybe besides the perforation, the big difference between the 2 types of bread is that this one is not nearly as thick. But you know, what's the fun in doing something correctly? Where most people would look at this recipe and think that the bread should mostly encapsulate the hot dog, I say, what if instead the hot dog just sort of rested gently on top of it?
Gotta have the sesame seeds. Gotta have salt. Definitely not enough salt in the hot dogs already. The question now is, hot dogs long ways or hot dogs short ways?
Each with their own merits, for sure. We're doing it, guys. We're creating bread. This is what they ate in the Bible. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Into the oven. I'm not even saying this is a joke. This is the best smelling food that I've made so far in this video. I feel like I just walked into an Italian bakery. Tell me that doesn't look good. Tell me you wouldn't eat that. And come on, like how unhealthy could it really be?
3,200 calories plus the oil, plus I don't know how many for the hot dogs.
And I don't have ketchup and I don't have regular mustard, but you know what? I do have a bunch of random ass condiments. Surely one of these will be good. And now I've got a whole flight of hot dogs. Between cooking, cleaning, and shopping for gifts, the holidays are stressful enough. So why don't you take one of those things off your to-do list? Make hot dog focaccia. Trust me, your kids are gonna thank you. They're gonna be like, whoa, this is way better than the crap that Dad usually makes us eat. Yeah, usually his cooking's so bad, I don't even have any respect for him. I hate that guy. That guy's the worst. You're like, okay, kids, a funny joke. And they're like, no, Dad, we're dead serious. Some of the stuff you usually feed us,
We have to pretend to eat it. Because if we actually eat that, we'd be in the hospital. But don't worry, Dad. Now that you've made us hot dog focaccia, we'll finally love you. And that's what Christmas is all about. Thanks for watching.